Wildcat basketball is on the air from St. Paul and the Butler Center. We welcome you in on a Wednesday night as tonight the Wildcats of St. Catherine University host Augsburg University and their Auggies. Still tricky to say that as we welcome you into St. Paul. Matt Nelson alongside of Glenn the Engineer here in St. Paul for tonight's game. And these two teams right now going through a different phase of their season. Augsburg riding high, and they've had a great year. 14-3 overall, 9-1 in the MIAC. Their lone loss was to undefeated St. Thomas. Ted Reverso, their experienced head coach, saw his team the last time out. They clobbered St. Olaf. 74-59 was the final score in that one. McCoy had 14 points for the Auggies. Ariana Jones had 13. And Tamara McLemore had a baker's dozen as well as they clobbered the Oldies their last time out, 74-59. An interesting stat about this Auggie team is all 5 starters have started all 17 of their games in 2018-2019, which is pretty fascinating. They've had a reliable starting 5 that have paced them to this 14-3 record and 9-1 overall. That's the Augsburg University Auggies. For the Wildcats from St. Kate's right now, they have decidedly found themselves in a speed bump portion of their season. 17-10 overall through their first 17 games, 4-6 in the MIAC. But in conference play, the Wildcats have lost 4 out of their last 5, and their last time out, they fell 75-56 at McAllister. That was Saturday. Audra Clark did have 22 points, but the team only mustered up 2 points in the first quarter on their way to shooting 26%. It's the second meeting between these two teams this season. The first one, the Auggies won in overtime. Let's hear from the head coach, Don Mulhern. Our pregame show continues as we step into the coach's office with Coach Don Mulhern. And Coach, every season's going to have its ups and its downs, its speed bumps, its pits, its valleys, and its peaks. Kind of find ourselves in the middle of a road bump right now. Last time we saw you guys, a dramatic win against Gustavus. That came right down to the wire. Your team showed great resilience in that game. Since then, 2 losses. What have been some of your impressions?
Well, you are absolutely right. In every season you have, where you're playing really well, and at times you're not playing as well. And I heard a wise coach one time say, you're never as good as your best games, you're never as bad as your not-so-good games. And you just got to keep that in mind. Our big thing right now is we've got to work on our scoring and our shooting. And, shooting is one of those things where you have to practice it. You have to practice in the off-season. And as a coach, the players know that nobody shoots and tries to miss. So on the one hand, you want to make sure you're taking good shots. On the other hand, sometimes if you talk too much about it, it's almost like it gets into the team's head and its psyche. Mm-hmm. So there's a fine line, and I guess the bottom line is you have to take good shots. You have to have good ball movement. We've been working so hard on that, and if you have a good shot and it doesn't go in, you got to keep on shooting that good shot. And I guess we're at a point where we just got to make some of those shots. That
last time out against McAllister on Saturday, and again, you always reserve the right to correct me if I'm wrong, but the team showed something that's become a bit of a theme, and that's they come out of the blocks for one reason or another a little bit slow. In the first quarter, buckets were hard to come by against McAllister. What do you chalk that up to with this team? They've performed great in so many second halves, but the St. Thomas game comes to mind, the McAllister game comes to mind, Gustavus just come out of the blocks a little slow.
And that's a fact. And you can talk about our pregame warm-ups, how you have to in the pregame warm-ups be ready right then and there, and having the energy and all those sorts of things. There's some things in basketball that are X and O's, and there's some things that are a little bit more of the subjective, the intangibles, and that's one of those things where we have done that, and it's become a non-positive. We haven't started out well. We haven't gotten those couple key baskets where we have the 2-on-1s, and I don't have a magic answer. My magic answer is we're trying to work on that, we're trying to fix that, and we're addressing it. And sometimes when you talk about it, you try to make the awareness and all that sort of stuff. I don't have the answer other than the fact of, yes, you're correct, we've got to get better at that, and that's the thing that we're concerned about.
Highlight one positive in the rearview mirror before we talk about your game tonight with Augsburg and looking forward. That game against Gustavus at home, late in the game, I wanted to know if you drew that play up on the moment or was it something that you practiced. I thought the play, Radford reared back with that right arm, gave it a heave-ho into the front court and let number 11 chase it down. Couldn't have worked much better than it did. It was executed very well.
Well, it was, and it was a unique situation because originally we were hoping to have the ball in the front court, and there was a mistake on my part, so the ball's in the back court. And we then did draw it up at that point in time, and to give credit to the players, Jackie kind of has that ability to see the whole court. Donica's obviously very athletic, and we had two parts of the play. We had that part. We had a screen occurring after that, so two different things in terms of getting the ball in. The key to that play is that you have to have enough air under the ball that the girl can run underneath it. You don't want it to go out of bounds and not be touched. So it was a very big play, and everything's nice. You can draw it up, but the young ladies, especially Jackie and Donica, executed it, and that's the bottom line. That's what made the play work, and hats off to them.
Tonight your team hosts Augsburg. How much do you know about Ted Reverso's Auggies this year? They just have the one loss. That was against St. Thomas, who hasn't lost in conference play yet this year.
Well, know a lot about them. We watched a lot of game film. We played them over there, took them to overtime, and very athletic, very aggressive. They do a dribble drive offense. They have a bunch of girls that can attack from different areas in the perimeter, have a bunch of young ladies that can really shoot the three, and they're going to come at you, the whole game, and it'll be intense. It'll be physical. We've played well against them last year and well against them in the first game, and it's one of those things where you've got to come out and be ready, or they'll go up 20-0 on you just like that. Very well coached. They have most of the same players back from last year, and they're a year better, and that's a compliment to Coach Ted, is that they've gotten better, they're confident, they play together, and very good basketball team.
Wins or losses, you can, seems like, set your watch to that veteran guard, Audra Clark. Talk about what she's meant to this team. She continues to put up big numbers, scoring, distributing the basketball, and just kind of all around. Her play seems to be as sharp as ever. Well,
we've talked a little bit before about how Audra, she had the knee issue last year, so missed the whole year. So really she was out, in essence, not playing for quite a while. Audra is one of those unique people. I love coaching her, and I actually had a talk with her today. As good as she is in the basketball court, she's very good. She's been really good off the court with the younger players in terms of encouraging, in terms of nurturing, and all those sorts of things. And, when you're a senior, you have high expectations, and she's been really good about helping the young players kind of develop their expectations, but still, when they maybe haven't done the things correctly, being a positive role model and not kind of being that maybe negative one. I actually had this talk with her today about that. I love coaching Audra. We should get some more years out of here. On the other hand here, we've got games to compete, games to play, and Audra's going to be key to that, and Audra's fired up for a good basketball game tonight.
Great to talk, Coach. I think it is going to be a great game, and good luck tonight with the Auggies.
Thank you. Hopefully we'll give you a good one.
There he goes. That's head coach Don Mulhern in his second season in St. Paul coaching the Wildcats. Tonight they host the Auggies, 9-1 in the MIAC, 14-3 overall. Let's send it downstairs for the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Very nice. We'll keep it downstairs on public address, courtside, and introduce the starting lineups for the Auggies and the Wildcats.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's meet the starting lineups for tonight's game, alternating. For the Auggies, junior guard from Brooklyn Park, Brianna Jones. For the Wildcats, a freshman forward from Maple Grove, Minnesota, number 23, Sam Orth. For the Auggies, a junior guard from Eagan, Minnesota, number 3, Tamira McLemore. For the Wildcats, a sophomore guard from Britton, South Dakota, number 10, Ashley Fosnes. For the Auggies, a junior guard from Minneapolis, Minnesota, number 5, Keza Wuben. For the Wildcats, a junior guard from Minneapolis, Minnesota, number 11, Donica Cambries. For the Auggies, a senior guard from Andover, Minnesota, number 14, Camille McCoy. For the Wildcats, a junior guard from St. Paul, Minnesota, number 15, Jackie Radford. For the Auggies, a junior forward from Bloomington, Minnesota, number 33, Cameron Speeds. And for the Wildcats, a senior guard from Kenyon, Minnesota, number 13, Audra Clark. And the balance of the Auggies and the Wildcats.
And with that, we're just about ready for tip-off. We welcome you back upstairs. Matt Nelson alongside of engineer Glenn Thompson as tonight the Wildcats host Augsburg University and their Auggies. The Auggies running it down once more, 4 guards and a forward. The 4 guards, Jones, McLemore, Wubin, and McCoy, with Speece in the front court. For the Wildcats, 4 guards and a forward as well. Fosness, Cambryce, Clark, Radford, and Orth. Tonight's broadcast is interactive. You can reach out to the booth. We'll make sure to get you a shout out on air, whether you're rooting for the Wildcats tonight or the Auggies. Wildcats booth at gmail.com. Once more, it's Wildcats booth at gmail.com. Whether you're watching on your smartphones, tablets, smart TVs, we welcome you into St. Paul. Thanks for spending a part of your week with us from St. Paul. The Auggies wearing the road maroon jerseys trimmed in gray with white numerals. Wildcats home whites with purple numerals and purple and gold trim. The 2 forwards, Orth and Speece, are ready for the tip, and we are underway in St. Paul. The Auggies win the tip. Jones will set up the offensive possession for the Auggies. There first. Wubin goes around to her right. She's picked up there by Orth. Now down low with it was McCoy. Jones swung around to McLemore. Had a big game the last time these two teams played. McLemore had 26. 3-pointer on the way, and it's knocked down. Auggies score on their first possession and take a 3-0 lead on the 3-pointer by Ariana Jones. Jones averaging just under 9 points per game, and obviously a very good shooter and facilitator. Wildcats turn it over on their first possession. It's stolen away. McLemore leads the break and finds Kasia Wubin going to the basket. She lays it up and in. The Auggies take a 5-point lead, and 42 seconds into the game, Don Mulhern forced to take a timeout. It's exactly what we talked about in our pregame show. The Wildcats have struggled coming out of the blocks. No exception tonight. They trail 5-0 to the Auggies. You're listening to Wildcat Basketball.
As a family-owned and operated business since 1971, Goodmanson Construction continues to develop concrete relationships with their commercial and residential customers throughout the upper Midwest. Questions or concerns about concrete, asphalt, and the company's installation process, check out their website at goodmansonconstruction.com. Thank you, Goodmanson Construction.
Bring it back into St. Paul out of the Wildcat timeout. It's Clark, now Radford on the left side. Wildcats trail 5-0. We're a minute into the first quarter, and another turnover. Wildcats turn it over. This time it's stolen away by McLemore, who steals, trying to go coast to coast. Layup no good. Speece offensive rebound. Her left-handed layup was too strong off of the window. Wildcats haul in the board and go the other way with it. Fosness for Orth through the defense of McCoy. It's Sam Orth scoring the first bucket of the night for the Wildcats. Orth averaging just under 11 points per game to go along with 6 rebounds per contest as well. Wubin nearly lost her dribble but was able to swing it over. Jones goes down low for Speece. She's double teamed. She'll kick it cross court. 3-pointer for Wubin is offline. Rebound hauled in underneath the basket on the weak side by Donica Cambryce. Clark leads the break into the front court. She gets tied up, lost it, and it's the third Wildcat turnover. Speece hauls it in and lays it up for a 7-2 Auggie lead. Cameron Speece has her first bucket, and the Auggie lead is 5. 3 early turnovers for the Wildcats on offense, a team that struggled on Saturday on the road in a loss against McAllister. The Wildcats managed only 2 points in the first 10 minutes of the game. Clark into the paint. Cambryce one-on-one, spins, shoots, no good. Rebound Auggies. McLemore, her first rebound. These two teams met back on the 12th of December earlier this season as Radford blocks the shot from McCoy. That was back on the 12th of December. 79-72 is the final score. An overtime win for the Auggies. Cambrai had 22 points. Clark had 19. But McLemore led all scorers. The Augie had 26 points. Radford a steal. So the Wildcats force a turnover. Can they score off of that turnover? Fosness takes it to the rack, and she scores on the layup. Fosness on the board, and the new score is Auggies 7, Wildcats 4. So Radford the steal. Fosness did the rest of the work from there. Early 3-point lead for the Auggies, 3 minutes into this one. McCoy, her shot a bit too strong over the iron. Clark weak side rebound. Audra Clark, very good rebounding guard as she goes down low to Cambrai, who draws the foul. It'll be the first against Tamira McLemore, the first against the Auggies, and it will send Donica Cambrai, the junior, to the free throw line for 2 free throws. 6:53 left in the first quarter. Cambrai to the line. Cambrai on the season, 15 points per game, 5 rebounds per contest, and a 73% from the free throw line. But her first ricochets violently off the back iron. Cambrai playing in her 14th game this season, starting her 10th in this 18th game of the year for the Wildcats. Cambrai goes 1 of 2, and it's a 2-point game. Auggie 7, Wildcats 5. McLemore has it. She's a captain for this Augie team. Again, all 5 of these starters have started all 17 games. Cambrai the steal, and she's fouled by Jones. Another pair of free throws coming up for Cambrai as she was able to get the Wildcats out on the fast break. And her great defense will earn her another trip to the free throw line. The foul is the second of the first quarter against the Auggies. The first against Ariana Jones. Cambrai now 2 of 3 from the free throw line. And the next one can tie us at 7. Got another 1 for 2 trip to the line for Cambrai. She's 2 of 4 on the evening, and the Auggies hold on to that 1-point lead. 3-pointer on the way, nothing but the bottom of the net for Tamira McLemore. Good 3-point shooter, 40% on the season for McLemore, who, like Cambrai, averages 15 a game. Jones and McLemore with early threes for the Auggies, have them on top by 4. Cambrai goes to the left hand, scoop layup, too strong. Orth offensive rebound, and she's fouled. 2 free throws coming up for Orth on the 3rd Augie foul of this first quarter. This one belongs to Emile McCoy. McCoy had a good game last time out. The Auggies beat the Olies 74-59. McCoy led all scores for the Auggies with her 14 points. Orth makes her first free throw. Orth on the season, 55%. She started all 18 games this year for the Wildcats. And as I mentioned, she averages 55%. And true to that form, she knocks down 1 of 2. So Orth with 3 first quarter points. And the Wildcats trail Augsburg 10-7. Pass was nearly stolen by Clark, but Rubin was able to reel it in. Right side, McLemore guarded tightly by Cambrai. Good matchup there, just inside of the arc. McCoy lines up a long 2-pointer and knocks it down. McCoy's first bucket of the ball game. Augie lead is 5, 12-7, your new score from St. Paul. Clark spins, picks up her dribble, spins more in the lane, and 3 seconds is going to be called. Clark picked up her dribble, was harassed defensively by Ariana Jones, and was called for 3 seconds in the paint after Clark picked up that dribble. 5:28 left in the first quarter. Again, tonight's broadcast, if you're just joining us, is interactive. Loose ball chased down by Wubin. Good defense by Clark, but still 15 seconds on the Augie shot clock for Jones to work with. Goes to her left around the screen. Pick and roll. Spiess from the free throw line, too short. And Clark the rebound. First time these two teams played, Clark, the guard, had 11 rebounds to go along with those 19 points. So you can see not only her season box score, but the last time these two teams played, Clark was able to have success on the glass. Floating pass down low. Benjamin too high off the glass. Kerchak offensive rebound. Wide open three. Clark knocks it down. Big shot for Audra Clark. Just under 15 points per game this season for Clark. She has her first three, and it cuts the Augie lead to just 2. 12-10 now. Augsburg on top. Cutting to the basket is Spiess. Layup is short. Rebound Benjamin. Wildcats doing well early on the glass. Clark leads the charge into the front court. Tried to get it to Kerchak. Her pass was deflected, and we've got a foul called. It was Wubin tied up with Kerchak on the floor, and they're going to call Kasia Wubin for her first foul. It's the 4th against the Augies. Wildcats still clean in that category. No fouls called against St. Kate's. 4 so far against the Augies. Clark and Cam Bryce to the bench. Radford and Taylor Johnson enter the game. Radford re-enters. Johnson in for the first time. 4:20 left in the first quarter. Benjamin tried a little high-low action with Orth. Nothing there. Kerchak drives. Open layup is good, and we're all tied up at a dozen apiece. Mackenzie Kerchak providing some scoring punch here in the first quarter off of the bench. Jones takes a look back to Ted Reverso and Jackie Boyd. She wasn't quite clear on what exactly the Augies were setting up offensively. It's a layup from Spiess. Shot no good. Wanted the foul against Orth. Didn't get the call. Now Orth into the front court. Slams on the break. She's trapped in the corner and threw it right off of the... It's going to be Augie ball. That ball went right off of the face of Carly Cobo, and she was a little shaken up. Orth got trapped in the corner, fired the ball, tried to get it down low along that baseline, tried to get it down low, and it hit the senior from Becker, Cobo. Looked like square between the eyes. Ouch. So she's going to go over to the bench, and trainers are going to have a look-see at Cobo. And Ted Reverso sends in Jen Masello to spell Cobo while the trainers take a look at her. She's locked up with Benjamin down low. McLemore guarded by Radford. That's another good matchup. McLemore now. There is Masello driving baseline. Reverse layup, scores it and one. Nice work for the freshman out of Darien, Illinois. She's playing in her 16th game of the year off of the bench. He draws the foul against Benjamin. First against the Wildcats. Scores on the reverse layup and has a chance at a three-point play and does just that. So the injury to Cobo creates an opportunity for Masello, and at least on that possession, she makes the most of it. Freshman against freshman down low as Radford trapped in the backcourt, and Jones has the steal. It's a 3-on-2. McLemore, she scores, and the foul. Radford commits her first foul. It'll send McLemore to the free throw line already with 5 points in this first quarter. And a chance to build onto the 5-point Augie lead with 3:03 left in the first period. McLemore, good free throw shooter, 73%, and knocks it down with ease. 6 points in the first quarter for McLemore. Great defense on that last possession by the Auggies. Clark settles into her left, now drives, kicks for Kerchak, pump fakes a long two-pointer. Instead comes to the top of the key, Cam Bryce. She nearly lost her dribble, ran into Masello down low, and the ball was kicked out of bounds by the Auggies. Solseth was the one to touch it last, so it'll stay with St. Kate's with 15 seconds left on their shot clock, trailing by 6. That ball again deflected on the way in, and it'll stay on this side with St. Kate's. Cassidy Jenkins was in on that last possession. She'll go to the bench now in favor of Fosness. It's also our first look at Lauren Isaacson as Kerchak will get a breather. Haven't seen too much of Jenkins this season, so it was worth calling her out. Nice pass by Radford. She finds Cam Bryce, who is able to wiggle loose and score. Cam Bryce has 4 first quarter points, and the Wildcats trail by 4. Wilson in for Ted Reverso off of the bench. Lost Clark, goes to her left. Picked up there by Isaacson. Long cross-court pass. McLemore airballs a three-pointer. Put back by Solseth is no good. Auggies come up empty-handed, and the Wildcats have a chance to cut into the 4-point lead. Again, Cam Bryce down low. What a dime from Clark. Clark finds Cam Bryce. Cam Bryce has 6, matches McLemore for game high. And a beauty of a pass by Clark, the program's all-time leading distributor. Leads the program all-time in assists. Down low, Jasmine Solseth comes in off the bench, averages just under 5 a game. She has her first bucket. And a little offensive outburst here late in the first quarter. 20-16, the Augie lead. Wildcats though with the ball. Minute 38 left in the first quarter. Cam Bryce this time will try to pay back the favor. Clark down low at her shot, blocked. And Macello was there to block it away. Loose ball, Solseth comes up with it. Jones into the front court. McLemore came awfully close to pulling the trigger on a three-pointer. Instead, the Auggies will slow it down and run their offense. Jones around the screen, picked up by Cam Bryce and Fosness. Down low, Solseth lays it in with ease, uncontested. Nice pass by Macello, a little high-low action. Puts the Auggies on top 22-16. Wildcats got a 3 earlier in this one from Audra Clark, but the Auggies play a much different style offensively. The Wildcats try to get good looks around the basket, try to draw fouls. The Auggies, they like to bombs away on those three-pointers. Cam Bryce for Radford. Her reverse layup is blocked by Macello, who has come in off of the bench and made a serious impact. That was her second block shot along with that three-point play she had. And now Macello draws the foul against Cam Bryce, the first against the Wildcat junior. 39 seconds on the first quarter game clock. 28 left on the shot clock as Jones dribbles into the front court. Jones to her right. Wide open three-pointer. Short. Loose ball. And last touch down low by Macello. Wildcat ball. Closing moments of this first quarter. 21 seconds left on the game clock. Shot clock is down. The Wildcats can hold it for the last shot. Clark picked up her dribble. 10 seconds left in the first quarter. Radford for Orth. Jump shot short. Loose ball. Chased down by McLemore. She'll have a chance at it. 3 seconds left. McLemore pulls up. Her three-pointer off of the window is too strong, and that's the end of the first quarter. We've played 10 from St. Paul. It's Augsburg 22, St. Kate 16, and you're listening to Wildcat basketball on a Wednesday night from St. Paul in the Butler Center.
A proud sponsor of Wildcat Athletics since all the way back in 1971, the Universal Athletic Team has been passionate about fueling the dreams of athletes, and they put all their know-how into doing just that. By servicing and selling athletic gear to local athletes, high schools, and colleges, Universal Athletic has dedicated its heart and soul to the support of sports, fitness, and health programs in schools and communities. Transporting Wildcat athletes is in the capable hands of Northfield Lines Incorporated, dedicated to ensuring that your travel experience is a positive one. Call to request a quote or to make a reservation at 888-670-8068 or visit their website at northfieldlines.com. Twin Cities Orthopedics offers a full spectrum of orthopedic care to individuals suffering sports-related problems and injuries. Their doctors are team physicians for St. Catherine's University as well as Augsburg University, Hamline University, and others around the state of Minnesota. Visit tcomn.com and thank you to Twin Cities Orthopedics.
Big thanks to all the sponsors of Wildcat Athletics. They make these broadcasts possible. They help enhance the student-athlete experience as well. Start of the second quarter, and it's a 6-point game. Still anybody's ball game here as we head into the second period from St. Paul. Augsburg 22, St. Kate 16. Fosness has it along with Radford, Clark, Cam Bryce, and Orth, the starting five for St. Kate's. Clark pump fake, drive, guarded tightly. Radford steps back, open three-pointer, low lining shot off of the front end of the area. An offensive board. Orth, Cambryce can't knock down the mid-range jumper. Third chance for the Wildcats, and Radford's fouled. Good work on the offensive glass by Jackie. Came down with the offensive rebound. Drew the foul against Asia Wilson, her first. The first against the Auggies in the second quarter. And it puts Radford on the free throw line for 2 shots. Radford on the season, 67% from the free throw line. The Wildcats have left some points out there on the line. Orth missed 1, Cambryce missed 2, and now Radford misses her first. Radford has started each and every game this season for the Wildcats. Comes up empty-handed, but a 4th chance for St. Kate's. A 4th offensive rebound. This one belongs to Sam Orth. So another chance as the Wildcats come up empty-handed on Radford's turn at the free throw line. Clark steps back. Shot short. This time the Auggies come up with the rebound as Solseth hauls it in. So now the Wildcats, by my count, top of my head, have missed 5 free throws in just the first 11 minutes of the game. Down low, Auggies tried to find Solseth underneath the basket. Couldn't come up with a pass. It's a turnover and Wildcat ball. Saw Don Mulhern, the Wildcat head coach. He took an early timeout at 5-0. I thought that timeout was critical. It really did plug the dam. It just was deja vu for Wildcat fans. This is a team that has not gotten off to good starts, even in games that they've won in the MIAC. And the Auggies, you heard Don Mulhern in our pregame show, he mentioned that the way that the Auggies shoot the basketball and with their great athleticism, the way they come at you, if you come out with a slow start or you go into a lull for any extended period of time, they can hang a 20-5 run on you, and you're down 15 just that quickly. Wubin called for the foul in the front court, her second foul, second team foul against the Auggies in the second quarter. So a fresh shot clock for St. Kate's. Drop us an email, wildcatsbooth@gmail.com. And make sure to get you a shout out on air. Another nice pass from Clark to Cambryce. Couldn't finish that one off as Solseth bounces it off of Orth, who was lying out of bounds on the baseline. So heads up play by Solseth to win possession for the Auggies. Nicole Zielsdorf in for the first time. She'll give Wubin a breather. Ted Reverso, experienced head coach, longtime head coach at St. Thomas, assistant coach under Pam Borton at the University of Minnesota, before taking over the reins at Augsburg University. Cambryce 2-on-1 finds Clark, trailing layup off of the window as Clark scores. She now has 5, and it's a 4-point game, 22-18 Augie lead. Cambryce with 6, Clark with 5. For 11 of those 18 points early here for St. Kate's. Spies goes to work offensively, kicks to Solseth. Shots off, Spies had the board, lost it, and it was poked away by Kerchek. It's Augie ball. Fresh shot clock for Augsburg as Radford swats that one off into the bleachers. 8:01 left in the second quarter. Good start offensively for Cambryce. 6 points. Audra Clark with 5. The other scoring coming from Sam Orth. She's got 3. Kerchek has a couple as well. And Fosness, I think, had the first basket of the game for St. Kate's. Solseth got away with a little double dribble action. No harm, no foul. Kicks it outside for Jones, who makes it hurt. She knocks down the three-pointer. Jones hits her second three-pointer of the evening, and the Auggies take a 25-18 lead as the Wildcats push the pace, and the third assist from Audra Clark finds Sam Orth, who now has 5 points. Pretty stress-free bucket for Orth as they beat the Augie defense back down to the other side for that easy baseline drive, and 3 seconds is going to be called against Solseth. She got it off at the last second, tried to get it to Asia Wilson, but was a bit tardy with it, didn't beat the whistle. It's an Augie turnover. Wilson will get a breather, and the dangerous Tamira McLemore will check back in. McLemore, another one of those great scorers in this conference. He does more than just score the ball. 15 points a game for McLemore, but just under 6 boards as well. And I mentioned she's a good free throw shooter. Benjamin going to work offensively. Jones, picked her pocket and ripped it away from the Wildcat freshman. Auggies turn over the Wildcats and will set up shop with a 5-point lead. So our first email come into wildcatsbooth@gmail.com. Looks like a Wildcat fan chiming in. We'll check it here momentarily. But again, whether you're rooting for the Auggies or the Wildcats, drop us a note on a Wednesday night. Wildcatsbooth@gmail.com. We love making the broadcast interactive. Clark for Cam Bryce, knocked down the big three-pointer. Cam Bryce has 9 points, and I think 8 of them have been assisted by Clark. The exception was the one free throw that Cam Bryce made. Pretty certain of that. Clark has just been setting up Cam Bryce all night long, and it's just a 2-point game. McLemore, three-pointer, too strong. Benjamin had the rebound and had it ripped away by Solseth. Loose ball off of the hands of Spies, and Cam Bryce is there to chase it down. Clark down low for Orth. Ran away from 2 Augie defenders. Now the veteran Clark sets up shop and directs traffic with 15 on the shot clock for St. Kate's. Goes to her left, nearly lost it, now did lose it, and it's stolen away by Jones. Zielsdorf jumped in there and forced the turnover. Jones, Zielsdorf, back to Jones. She scores and 1. Draws the foul against Orth, but Jones, all 5'4" of her, strong enough to finish it off. She has 8 points. She'll go to the free throw line where she shoots 71%, and the Augie lead is 4. Let's check wildcatsbooth@gmail.com. Gail Nelson checks in. She's watching her daughter Emma Nelson, number 21, and her niece Audra Clark. And she makes note, that's right, they are first cousins. And Gail says she loves her Wildcats. No surprise, cheering on St. Kate's tonight. Jones' free throw is good. That one stings. 3-point play for Jones. The problem is tonight the Auggies have found those 3-point plays finishing off through contact, through Wildcat fouls. And as good as the Auggies are at shooting the long ball, you want to avoid as many of those 3-point plays by way of the free throw line as you can, because they come up with enough of them on their own shooting beyond the arc. So thank you, Gail, for chiming in at wildcatsbooth@gmail.com. Been a good start for the Wildcats, at least out of the Don Mulhern timeout. Right now they trail just by 5 as Kurchek lost it out of bounds. And the Wildcats a bit careless on their last 2 possessions with the basketball. It's going to draw a substitution in. Jenkins will check in for Benjamin. And, you know, we talked to Don Mulhern before the game, and you think about these 2 teams going to overtime back in the middle of December. Augsburg is 9-1. The Wildcats are 4-6. And you look at these 2 teams, and granted St. Kate's had a tough week last week, but you can see how the little breaks in close games can be the difference between sitting at 9-1 through 10 conference games and sitting at 4-6. A couple of close games go the other way. You build that confidence, you build that momentum, you gain that experience, and that's how you find yourself, like Augsburg is this year, sitting at 9-1, looking up at just St. Thomas. Radford had her shot blocked by McLemore. And McLemore, the steal, puts her head down, charges into the front court, can't finish off the layup, loose ball in the basket, and the jump ball is going to be called. And McLemore not pleased. The Auggies will keep the ball, but she stole it away. She wanted to finish it off with the layup, wasn't able to do it. We've got a timeout on the floor. When we come back, it'll be Augie ball, up by 5 with 4:36 left here in the second quarter from St. Paul.
For exceptional service and selection, look no further than Fury Motors in St. Paul. They're the #1 family-owned dealer to buy a Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, or Ram since all the way back in 1963. So much to choose from, and they make the shopping process easy. Also offering genuine service and financing. Visit stpaul.furymotors.com for more information. Peoples Electric Company is your full-service electrical contractor, one of the Upper Midwest's largest. From building and process automation, communications, construction services, energy savings, testing, and maintenance. Founded in 1922 by William F. Lindbergh and located in St. Paul. Find out more information on People's Electric Company at www.peoplesco.com.
Welcome you back in. Pardon that break, running a bit long. The Auggies turn it over out of that timeout. Wildcats will have the ball and a chance to cut into this 5-point lead. Still anybody's game. These two teams went to overtime earlier this year as that one's stolen away by McLemore. No reason to think that tonight's game wouldn't be close as well. Selena Lohr setting up shop offensively off of that bench for Ted Reverso. Goes to her left, now to her right. McLemore guarded by Radford. She's being shadowed by Radford and Cam Bryce. Three-pointer off for Wilson. Offensive board put back up and in by Jen Masello. What an impact Masello has had off of the bench for the Auggies. 2 block shots, 5 points off of the bench, and it all started when Kobo took that ball off of her face, regrettably, underneath the basket on the Wildcats' end. Cam Bryce tried to get it to Jenkins. It went right through her hands, and Wilson will lead the Augie break. She'll try a little floater and nail it in transition without even breaking stride. Asia Wilson, who averages 8.5 a game, has her first bucket. Playing in her 18th game of the season, all off of the bench for the Auggies. 32-23 the score. Critical 3 minutes and 23 seconds coming up for the Wildcats. Down low, Jenkins wide open. Kerchek finds Jenkins. Off of the bench, Jenkins has her first bucket. Comes via the assist from Mackenzie Kerchek. Wilson hands it off for McCoy. McLemore lost it, loose ball, and Kerchek was able to deflect it to McLemore. Kerchek is one of those players, now that I've seen him play enough, it just seems like they're always there to deflect the ball. Here's a three-pointer from Kerchek. It's an air ball, missed badly over the iron, but it seems like she's one of those high-effort players that just, ball just always seems to find them, and they're always able to, you know, either be there for a big rebound or swat it to a teammate and make those little plays that can turn a close game into a win. Lohr lines up a three-pointer. That's too strong and out of bounds off of the hands of McCoy. Wildcat ball. Got another one into wildcatsbooth@gmail.com. Keep it coming. Let us know who you're rooting for tonight and where you're listening and watching from. Joyce Torvik writes in, and she is watching tonight from Honolulu. Awesome. And she says, go St. Kate's. Can you imagine that, Glenn, all the way out there in the middle of that Pacific Ocean? On the island, watching the Wildcats. They're in a tough one right now. Jenkins down low. And she has her second bucket, second quarter points for Cassidy Jenkins, sophomore out of Hudson, Wisconsin, having an impact off of the bench. Wilson lost it, and they're going to say over and back. They're going to say Radford didn't touch it. That Augie bench exploded, and Ted Reverso saying that Radford deflected that ball into the back court. And they're saying that Wilson simply booted it, and that it's Wildcat ball. Ted Reverso can only throw his hands up in the air and walk back to his bench. 32-27 the score, and see if the Wildcats, they'll try Jenkins just inside of the arc, and oh, she's feeling it. Jenkins with 6 points, all in the second quarter. And it's a 3-point game, so the Wildcats make the close call hurt, and they score. I have to check and see how many points Jenkins had on the season. She's got 6 here in the second quarter. Keep the emails coming, wildcatsbooth@gmail.com. We've heard from Joyce out there in Honolulu, where it's decidedly warmer than it is in St. Paul tonight. Jones misses on the three-pointer, but McCoy is there to clean it up and put it back in. 34-29 the new score. Cam Bryce off of the elbow. She knocks down the jump shot. Boy, these two teams came to play offensively. Cam Bryce with 11, 34-31. Jenkins had not scored on the 2018-2019 season through 17 games, and she's had 6 in the second quarter. We've got an offensive foul against the Auggies. And this one is against the freshman Marcello, who's had a great first half. She's called for the offensive foul. It's the third against the Auggies. They'll retreat and play defense. The Wildcats will have a chance with 34 seconds left in the second quarter to tie this thing up with a 3 or make it a 1-point game with something inside of the arc. Stay tuned at halftime. Our Wildcat player profiles. We'll sit down and talk with Katie Benjamin and Lauren Isaacson. Don't miss that. That'll be at halftime. Great conversations with Katie Benjamin and Lauren Isaacson. Radford spins into a double team and is fouled. Macello's going to be called for her second, and it'll send Jackie to the free throw line, where earlier tonight she missed 2. Wildcats down by 3 with 14.5 seconds left in the second quarter, and Radford can bring the Wildcats to within 1. And Radford misses. Radford had a tough game shooting the basketball on Saturday against McAllister and still hasn't really found the range this evening against Augsburg. Jackie needs this one to go through. And it comes up short. Radford 0 for 4 on the night shooting the free throws. Loose ball, last touch by Cambryce. So a tough half shooting for Radford, who's expected to do so much more than score, but sometimes when you've had a rough week shooting the basketball, you need to see a couple of them go through from the free throw line. It can set you up for big things later on in a game. 9 seconds left in the first half. Lohr goes to her right. Now it's the veteran Jones. Wilson guarded by Cambryce. Bumped, no call. Lohr picks up her dribble. Wilson three-pointer. As time expires, she knocked it down and it'll count. Big shot. Asia Wilson closes out the first half with 5 points and a buzzer-beating three-pointer to put the Auggies up 37-31. And that'll be your score through 20 minutes in St. Paul, with the Auggies on top by 6. You take a look at these two teams. Pretty comparable from the floor on the season. 39% for the Auggies, 37% for St. Kate's. Big difference shooting the 3. Wildcats 25%, St. Kate, Augsburg at 35%, and pretty comparable at the free throw line. They played an overtime game back in December. I would not be surprised if tonight's game went to overtime or came right down to the wire in between these two teams, who right now are not close in the standings, but the Wildcats have been a very tough matchup for the Auggies. I think the overtime loss earlier this season was their first loss to Augsburg in 3 seasons, the last 3 seasons. It's halftime in St. Paul from the Butler Center. As promised, we've got a couple of great conversations for you, our Wildcat player profiles. Our first is with Katie Benjamin, and that'll be followed by Lauren Isaacson. So without further ado, here is Katie Benjamin.
This is today's Wildcat player profile. This is Katie Benjamin, a freshman center from Walker, Minnesota. Great to have a chance to get to know you a little bit better here on our Wildcat player profile. First of all, you're one of the newcomers to this team. How was it that you wound up, you grew up in Walker, how was it that you wound up playing your college basketball here in St. Paul?
Well, I knew that I always wanted to go to a bigger city, and so St. Paul seemed perfect, and then I got recruited by Coach Kerr here, and I love the campus. It just feels like home.
When did you start playing basketball growing up?
Oh gosh, first grade, I think.
Oh gosh,
Yeah.
It's like thinking back to like that little Tykes thing in the living room with the little ball knocking things off of the shelf. What are some of your favorite moments growing up playing basketball, or maybe a favorite moment already in your young career here at St. Kate's? Maybe that first bucket or that first moment playing college ball. It's a pretty special thing.
Yeah, I'd say the St. Olaf game on Saturday.
The game against the Oldies, a big win. Yes.
Yeah,
you came off the bench, had a huge impact. How do you see your role on this team? Where do you think right now as a freshman you fit in?
I see myself as someone that needs to come off the bench, give everyone a little break, and just try to do my best on the court.
What have you experienced? What has been the main difference between your high school ball and now playing in this very tough, very deep MIAC conference? There's a lot of great teams on the women's basketball side.
Yeah, in high school, I had a big role. I was the only senior. My role was to score.
It was your team.
Yeah, pretty much. They were all they called me mom and everything.
Oh, wow.
But here it's like there's other people that can score and that will help
Okay, so do your teammates here know that that was your nickname in high school?
Yes.
Has that taken here? Has anyone taken
Not
it?
yet.
Not yet, but you never know.
But yeah, it's just definitely a big difference.
Has it been hard adapting to that difference?
At first it was a little hard, but playing AAU for 2 years, that helps a lot of the transition because AAU is so much different than high school basketball.
Is there anyone on the men's or women's side, whether it's in college or the pros, that you watch games and you think, I like that, I'm going to pluck a little something out of their game and put it into my game, or you enjoy watching that kind of player that you would pay to watch, as they say?
Megan Gustafson from the University of Iowa.
Megan Gustafson from
Yep.
Iowa.
Yep,
Never heard of Iowa.
I love her at the University of Iowa. She's from a small town like me. She's a post.
Okay.
She's amazing.
So you see a lot of yourself in her game, and
Yeah.
that's awesome. That's awesome. How has this first year experience been off of the court? It's a big adjustment. You said you wanted to come to a big city. That wish has been granted, but then you have to live with those realities. How's it going?
Yeah, it's been pretty good. It's nice having like a Target down the street instead of having to drive an hour. But yeah.
Of course, a Target.
I have a lot of friends and family
It sounds like I never left home. You do the Target run every day. Right
Yeah.
there. So you got the Target close.
Mhm.
Beyond that, it sounded like you really like this campus. You like the environment
I
on this
like that
campus.
it's super small, and I don't really feel like I'm in the Twin Cities, but like I am. And I don't know,
It's-
just the woods.
But you got a Target, so
Yeah.
I mean, you
Yeah,
know,
that's true.
it's a good trade-off.
Yeah, it feels like home.
What are your goals for the rest of the year? Where do you want to develop your game? Everybody in athletics wants to get better at something.
My goal for the year is probably to keep trying my best and like keep working hard and not get down on myself so much.
And limit to 1 Target run per day. How's
Yes,
that?
probably.
Freshman out of Walker, Minnesota. This is Katie Benjamin, and this has been today's Wildcat Player Profile. Lauren Isaacson joining us, our Wildcat Player Profile. Lauren is a freshman guard out of Faribault, Minnesota. But you're so much more than that, Lauren. 3-sport star here at St. Kate's. Now, first of all, tell us what 3 sports you're currently playing with.
So I'm playing in basketball, volleyball, and track.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot. When did you get into those 3 sports growing up?
Basketball and volleyball, I was really young when I started, but and track, I just started freshman year of high school.
It's funny because so many people have different paths to getting into track and field. How did you wind up getting into that in high school?
So my mom threw out Ohio State, and then she wanted me to try it out.
Can we still continue this conversation? I'm not a big Buckeye fan, actually.
I don't know.
That's all right. That's all right. We'll keep it centered here with the Wildcats. But do you have? This is hard to say because we're airing this during a basketball game.
Right.
Do you have a favorite sport, or do each of them bring something else to the table for you?
I think each of them brings something else to the table, for sure.
How do you balance that, the pull of participating in 3 different sports with 3 different teams? Meanwhile, you're still expected, there's a student-athlete part of the equation here. You still have to be a student.
Yeah, it's a little bit harder in college now than it was in high school, but after volleyball practices, I'd go sit and watch basketball practices, and I've been to a couple track practices already during basketball season, so it's just a lot of double.
How did you end up here at St. Kate's? So tell me about the recruiting process.
Coach Mulhern and Coach Kerr came to a lot of my basketball games, and then to some of my volleyball games as well, and then all my summer AAU tournaments. And then I actually was planning on just coming here for basketball, and then Todd Nelson, the volleyball coach, reached out to me. So I decided to play volleyball as well. And then last year I made it to state in track, and then I met the track coaches, and then that's how I got involved with track.
Oh, it's awesome. It's unbelievable. Where do you think you fit in? You're one of the youngsters. Where do you think you fit into this basketball team? What do you think you can contribute in year 1 here at St. Kate's and St. Paul?
Well, I actually started off on the team on JV because I was late because of volleyball, and then I had a kidney infection, so I was in the hospital. So I was late, but now I'm.
That doesn't sound pleasant.
No, not at all. It was horrible. But now.
How are you feeling now?
A lot better.
I mean, not being on camera and doing this profile, but with the kidney and all that stuff.
Yeah,
all
it's
right.
good. It's good. But now I'm starting to like get back into the swing of things, and so I think that I am contributing more universally.
What are some of your? Let's talk about goals. Everybody likes talking about goals. Personal, team goals for the rest of 2018, 2019. What are yours?
Basketball-wise, I'm still like figuring out the conference, like and who's like the top dogs. Like it's hard to find out, but I want to keep working my way up. I started on JV and now I'm playing more varsity, so I want to keep doing that. And then for track, I want to improve my PR. I threw a 135 in high school last year, so I want to get in the 140s.
Track is one of those ones that's so measurable.
It
you know,
is.
with basketball you can contribute and you might put up big stats, you might not.
Right.
Track, you know exactly where you are
Exactly.
at any given time. We'll get you out of here on this one. Basketball-wise, what's the one area, as you said, you're looking to grow and develop and improve and move up that ladder. What's the one area specifically in your game on the court that you're trying to work on this year?
In high school, I was more of a like forward, like power forward type, and now in college, I'm a guard because I'm smaller. So I think I need to improve my ball handling for sure.
You're not smaller. Everyone else is a little bit bigger. She's Lauren Isaacson. She's one of the youngsters on this team out of Faribault, Minnesota, and this has been your Wildcat Player Profile. Those are your Wildcat player profiles. Again, that was Katie Benjamin and Lauren Isaacson. Some great conversations with a couple of underclassmen. And exciting to see where their careers will lead them in their time playing, well, as you heard in Isaacson's case, 3 sports, and Benjamin, her basketball career here at St. Kate's. Your score is 37-31. The Auggies leading by 6, courtesy of a buzzer-beating 3 from Asia Wilson. We've played 20 minutes, 20 more to go from St. Paul. When we come back, it's the third quarter. Cats and Auggies on TJSportsOnline.net's coverage of MIAC women's basketball.
As a family-owned and operated business since 1971, Goodmanson Construction continues to develop concrete relationships with their commercial and residential customers throughout the upper Midwest. Questions or concerns about concrete, asphalt, and the company's installation process, check out their website at goodmansonconstruction.com. Thank you, Goodmanson Construction. A proud sponsor of Wildcat Athletics since all the way back in 1971, the Universal Athletic Team has been passionate about fueling the dreams of athletes, and they put all their know-how into doing just that. By servicing and selling athletic gear to local athletes, high schools, and colleges, Universal Athletic has dedicated its heart and soul to the support of sports, fitness, and health programs in schools and communities. Transporting Wildcat athletes is in the capable hands of Northfield Lines Incorporated, dedicated to ensuring that your travel experience is a positive one. Call to request a quote or to make a reservation at 888-670-8068 or visit their website at northfieldlines.com. Twin Cities Orthopedics offers a full spectrum of orthopedic care to individuals suffering sports-related problems and injuries. Their doctors are team physicians for St. Catherine's University as well as Augsburg University, Hamline University, and others around the state of Minnesota. Visit tcomn.com and thank you to Twin Cities Orthopedics. For exceptional service and selection, look no further than Fury Motors in St. Paul. They're the #1 family-owned dealer to buy a Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, or Ram since all the way back in 1963. So much to choose from, and they make the shopping process easy. Also offering genuine service and financing. Visit stpaul.furymotors.com for more information. Peoples Electric Company is your full-service electrical contractor, one of the Upper Midwest's largest. From building and process automation, communications, construction services, energy savings, testing, and maintenance. Founded in 1922 by William F. Lindbergh and located in St. Paul, find out more information on Peoples Electric Company at www.peoplesco.com. Wildcat Athletics is proudly supported by the Ryan Company, the Hickey family, U.S. Bank, the Loeffler Companies, Cone U.S., and the Opus Group. Wildcat supporters this season also include Shapco Printing, Sodexo, Terra General Contractors, the O'Neill Group, ProTech Designs, and Floors by Becker. Other Wildcat sponsors include McGough Construction, the DLR Group, Push Pedal and Pull, the Newman Family, Sava Tree, Jimmy John's, and Munchie's Frozen Yogurt.
And we are ready for the second half from St. Paul, Wildcats and Auggies. Our coverage of MIAC women's basketball continues alongside of the very hardworking engineer, our producer, the hardest working man on the broadcast tonight. That is Glenn Thompson. Thank you, sir, for your efforts. He works very hard and makes it look easy. He turns those knobs and presses those buttons in a fashion that makes these broadcasts possible all the way out to Honolulu, all the way to the dorms around town. We got an email. The inbox is still open for business, wildcatsbooth@gmail.com, and we got one from Kayla Hansen, and she's enjoying the show tonight, and she's rooting for the Auggies tonight from the dormitories, and she says a shout-out to Selena Lohr. And so, Kayla, thanks for tuning in. You never know where folks are going to be listening from. A pretty far cry. We've heard from Honolulu to the Augie dorms. A far cry distance-wise and weather-wise. Long pass into the front court. Spies can't finish it off. Loose ball hauled in by Wubin. Her putback's no good. Fosness jumps on it. It comes free. Now Radford has it, and the Wildcats will push the pace. 3-on-3. Clark dishes for Orth, who knocks down the 6-footer. And the assists continue to pile up for Audra Clark. Orth has 7 points, and it is a 4-point game, 37-33 Augie lead. But just about every bucket, it seems, whenever somebody's getting an open look, it's created by Audra Clark, program's all-time leader in assists. Going to work is McCoy. She draws the foul against Fosness and makes the bucket. A chance at a 3-point play for McCoy, who now has 6 points. The senior out of Brooklyn Park will head to the free throw line. She averages 4.5 per game on the season, already has 6 and 4 boards as well. 58% from the free throw line is McCoy, but she knocks that one down. 7 points for Camille McCoy. Mentioned she had a great game last time out. Led the Auggies with her 14 points in the win against St. Olaf. 40-33, Wildcats down by 7 with the basketball. It's Cambryce, Radford, Clark, Fosness, and Orth out there, the original starting 5 for second-year head coach Don Mulhern. Clark wide open from the free throw line, knocked it down. Clark has been busy setting up her teammates tonight, but when she's had open shots, she's knocked them down. 3-pointer in the first half, that one from just beyond the free throw line. 40-35, the new score. No call on the contact. Clark and Wubin outside. Instead, it's Jones, 3-pointer, no good. McCoy rebound, and she found Wubin wide open underneath the basket for 2 points. Clark wanted an offensive foul against Wubin, didn't get the call, and Don Mulhern is giving the officials the business. He said it was so blatant. How could you not miss it? He thought that Wubin threw a forearm into Clark. Down low, Cambryce double teamed, and she draws the foul. Cambryce is going to go to the free throw line. I think the first foul of the second half is going to belong to McLemore. No, it looks now Spiess is the one who they're going to call it on. First foul against Spiess. Puts Cambryce on the free throw line where the Wildcats haven't been great today. And Cambryce draws the fortunate roll and now has a dozen points. Fosness will head to the bench, and Perchek will come in to give her a breather. First substitution of the second half for the Wildcats. As Cambryce goes 2 of 2 from the free throw line. She's got 13, 5-point game, 2 minutes into the second half. Auggies going to work offensively. It was booted by McLemore, and Clark comes up with a steal. Perchek will hand it back over to number 13, who will set up shop. Radford on the elbow, down low. Cambryce lays it up and in. Got behind Spiess, went to work offensively as Cambryce now leads all scorers with 15 points, and it's a 3-point game. Emails continue to pour into Wildcats booth at gmail.com, whether you're rooting for the Auggies or the Wildcats. Keep them coming tonight as Jones misses badly on a three-pointer. Spiess was able to keep it alive but threw it right into the arms of Audra Clark. Clark into the front court as Spiess trailer wide open under the basket. Cambryce. Wildcats go 5 on 4 and score, and Clark continues to set the table over and over and over and over again for Cambryce. Orth all over the court. Clark creating for her teammates. It's a 1-point game, 6:58 to go in the third quarter. You're listening to Wildcat Basketball. We'll check the inbox right when we come back.
As a family-owned and operated business since 1971, Goodmanson Construction continues to develop concrete relationships with their commercial and residential customers throughout the upper Midwest. Questions or concerns about concrete, asphalt, and the company's installation process, check out their website at goodmansonconstruction.com. Thank you, Goodmanson Construction.
It's Wildcats booth at gmail.com, and we've got an email in from Davenport, Iowa. This one comes from Karen Benjamin, and no surprise she is cheering for the Wildcats on this Wednesday night, and I would imagine they enjoyed the halftime show down there in Davenport, Iowa, if I had to take a wild guess. A Wildcat guess. Very funny, Glenn. That's why you're over there engineering this show, and that's why sometimes we put a microphone over there by you, and sometimes we don't. Spiess, sure. Mostly we don't. Loose ball out of bounds. Last touch by Radford underneath the basket. It's bad puns like that that get you banished from all live microphones in your vicinity. And what you said, it's the hardest working engineer because you make these broadcasts possible and make me sound somewhat respectable. No argument on that front, good sir. That is the hardest job in the Twin Cities on any given night. I'll agree with that. 6:22 left in the third quarter. McLemore backpedals. Now Jones will set it up top of the key with 13 seconds left on the shot clock. McLemore guarded by Radford. Hands it off for Wubin. Now it's Jones. She's guarded by Orth. Quite a size discrepancy there. And leaning into a foul was Camille McCoy. She draws the foul against Kerchak. Second foul against St. Kate's with 6:05 left in the second quarter. And the first against Kerchak. So a fresh shot clock for the Auggies. Jones will trigger it inbounds to McLemore. Now it's McCoy down low. Jones, wide open three. That rattled in and out. Perchek the rebound on the strong side. Clark into the front court. Down low with it. Orth. Up top Perchek. Now Clark to her right. Wildcats can take the lead on this possession. Jenkins lost it and had it stolen away by McLemore. So Wildcats, for the first time all night, had a chance to take the lead. They trailed, remember, out of the gate. 5-0. Wubin wide open, walks it in and scores. Wubin with 6 points, averages 8.5 per game, 44-41. Clark guarded by Jones. Wildcats can tie with a 3. Or cut it to a 1-point game, but before that it's stolen away by Spies. Spies with nothing but air in front of her walks it in and scores. And Don Mulhern can watch no more. Spies has 4 points. The Auggies lead it by 5. And we'll break with 5:04 to go in the third quarter. You're listening to Wildcat Basketball.
A proud sponsor of Wildcat Athletics since all the way back in 1971, the Universal Athletic Team has been passionate about fueling the dreams of athletes, and they put all their know-how into doing just that. By servicing and selling athletic gear to local athletes, high schools, and colleges, Universal Athletic has dedicated its heart and soul to the support of sports, fitness, and health programs in schools and communities. Transporting Wildcat athletes is in the capable hands of Northfield Lines Incorporated, dedicated to ensuring that your travel experience is a positive one. Call to request a quote or to make a reservation at 888-670-8068 or visit their website at northfieldlines.com.
Welcome you back into St. Paul. Auggies 46, Wildcats 41. Quite a story is Cassidy Jenkins, sophomore out of Hudson, Wisconsin. Hadn't scored all season long and chipped in 6 points in the second quarter. Benjamin in off of the bench. Finds Kurchek. She's being harassed defensively by McLemore. 15 seconds left for the Wildcats to work with. Jenkins back outside. Clark three-pointer was open. Rattled off to the side of the iron. Benjamin offensive rebound. Put back no good. Loose ball tipped outside to Cambryce. She'll drive, pull up, and score. Cambryce has 19 points, and it's a 3-point game. These two teams played to overtime back in December, and here we are again in the second half, a close game. McCoy. Now Jones. The Auggies, though, this season have shown the ability to win close games to that 9-1 conference record as McLemore steps outside and knocks down a three-pointer. She has 9 points, 49-43 your new score. Auggies on top by 6. They've led wire to wire so far as the Wildcats turn it over. Wilson will try a long three-pointer. That one's short. Loose ball. There's been a lot of loose balls, a lot of kind of grungy rebounds underneath the basket. Benjamin comes up with this latest one as Kurchek goes through a little contact, finds Cambryce. Her three-pointer is short. Benjamin deflects the loose ball, and it's tapped out of bounds. Wildcats ball. Last touched by Wilson. Email came in at wildcatsbooth@gmail.com. And Fosness chiming in from Sioux Falls, South Dakota, enjoying tonight's game and also enjoying the halftime conversations. I knew Wildcat fans would enjoy that, a chance to get to know the student athletes. Some great conversations from earlier this year. A chance to get to know them a little bit on and off of the court. So thank you, sir, for writing in from Sioux Falls, South Dakota. First Wildcat bucket tonight came from Ashley Fosness. Bradford one-on-one in the post. Now Jones comes over to help. Kicks outside. Venegas, she's in for the first time. Johnson drives. She lost the basketball. Sitting under the basket, was able to pick it up, kick it outside for Venegas. Three-pointer off. And Solseth comes up with the rebound as she picked it out of a sea of white jerseys. 49-43 with 2 minutes and 45 seconds left in the third period. Wilson to her right. Will pick and roll. Tried to get it down low to Macello, but it was picked off on the way there. Great defense by the Wildcats, forcing the turnover. Coming up with the steal. Now they need to find some offense. They're getting enough stops to come back in this thing. Now they've just got to find their rhythm offensively. Right now with these 5 on the court, it's going to be the offense going through mainly Orth. Benjamin for Johnson. 8 seconds left on the shot clock. Orth, high-low action. Went down low to Benjamin. She had it stolen away by McLemore, who booted it out of bounds. Wildcat ball and a fresh shot clock for St. Kate's. Pretty hard to operate offensively if you're St. Kate's, all due respect, without Clark or Cambryce as one of the 5 players on the floor. And now Audra Clark will come in. Venegas will take a seat. That's no slight by any means on anyone else on the roster, but without 11 or 13 on the floor offensively, gets a little choppy. Long three on the way. Johnson comes up short, and it's Augie ball. So I guess they said that Augsburg never had possession when they lost that ball out of bounds, so the shot clock didn't reset, and that's why Johnson had to try the long three-pointer. Auggies leading by 6 with the rock. Solseth, open three, short. Benjamin the rebound. Good work on the glass by the youngster Benjamin. Clark steps back. You can tell had a good long think about shooting the three-pointer with Jones guarding her. Clark can get that shot off over Jones, but will set up the offense instead with Benjamin. Tried to go to Orth, nothing doing there, so Radford takes it top the key. She'll drive left-handed. Kick for Johnson. 8 seconds left for the Wildcats to work with. Orth from just beyond the free throw line. Very nicely done. Orth has 9 points, and it's a 4-point game. 49-45, Augie lead. Minute 10 to go in the third quarter. These two teams do it a bit differently offensively. Wilson three-pointer, and knocked it down. Asia Wilson now with 8 points and her second three-pointer of the evening. Most of the action for Augsburg goes from behind the arc, most of it inside of the arc for St. Kate's. There's Radford driving. High off of the window and a rebound for Jones. 52-45. Auggies with the basketball. Jones setting up shop. Guarded by Johnson. Can't imagine that the Wildcats will start that fourth quarter without Cambryce on the floor. She's been their leading scorer. Wilson had it stolen away by Johnson. She'll throw it into the front court. Clark's there to chase it down, and Clark lays it up and in with the left hand. 9 points for Clark. Great defense by Johnson, and a good pass as well. Just throw it into the front court, let Clark chase it down, and do the rest of the work from there. 7 seconds left for the Auggies. Wilson, three-pointer, quick trigger. Too strong off of the cables that hold the basket up. It's out of bounds, and it'll be Wildcat ball. They're going to put 3 seconds on the game clock. There is Cambryce coming back in along with Jenkins, Perchek, Orth, and Clark. Cambryce will trigger the ball in. Auggies made a buzzer beater at the end of the second quarter. We'll see if the Wildcats can do it here in the third quarter. Not going to happen. As Clark pitched it out of bounds, we'll see if they put any clock back on this third quarter. They will get together. Let's see. Ball went out of bounds. Both teams went back to their benches. They probably could, with a straight face, put a half second on the third quarter clock. Let's see what the officials have to say. I think they're going to put a second. Let's hear it. That ball went out of bounds. You could easily say there was still a half second or two left on the clock. Players will come back out onto the floor. They're going to put 0.4 seconds up on the clock. I thought they would do that. The ball was thrown out of bounds, and there was definitely enough time for Augsburg to get this in. I'd imagine it'll go into the hands of Asia Wilson. She's got the quickest shot on the team, and let her see if she can fire another buzzer beater like she did at the end of the second quarter. Jones, nothing doing for Wilson. Solseth instead, long three. Ooh, would have been good off of the backboard. Rattled off of the inside edge of the front iron, but it bounced out, so the shot's no good for Solseth. And now we are ready for our final quarter break of the evening. We have played 30 minutes of basketball, and it's the Auggies by 5. 52-47 your score. You're listening to Wildcat Basketball.
Orthopedics offers a full spectrum of orthopedic care to individuals suffering sports-related problems and injuries. Their doctors are team physicians for St. Catherine's University, as well as Augsburg University, Hamline University, and others around the state of Minnesota. Visit tcomn.com, and thank you to Twin Cities Orthopedics. For exceptional service and selection, look no further than Fury Motors in St. Paul. They're the #1 family-owned dealer to buy a Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, or Ram since all the way back in 1963. So much to choose from, and they make the shopping process easy. Also offering genuine service and financing. Visit stpaul.furymotors.com for more information. Peoples Electric Company is your full-service electrical contractor, one of the Upper Midwest's largest. From building and process automation, communications, construction services, energy savings, testing, and maintenance. Founded in 1922 by William F. Lindbergh and located in St. Paul, find out more information on Peoples Electric Company at www.peoplesco.com.
Welcome you back in for the fourth quarter. Just saw one pop into Wildcats booth at gmail.com. We'll check it at the next break. Looks like an Augie fan chiming in this very close game. Cambrace went for the steal. Speece came up with it, got it down low for Solseth. McLemore steps inside of the arc. Now they'll swing it around to the right side. Jones will go to the work. Long two-pointer is off, and Cambrace comes down with the rebound. Mentioned earlier, the Wildcats have played enough defense to get back into this game. At times, it's been the offense that's been hard to come by. Right now, 52-47 the score. Orth hands it off for Clark. She'll drive with the left hand, slam on the brakes, had it tapped out of her hands. Triple team. Now she loses her footing, and they're going to call a foul, I think, against the Auggies. It'd be their first of the fourth quarter, and it is against Jasmine Solseth, her first foul. Got an email coming in from the Land of Lincoln, Darien, Illinois, chiming in. John Masello watching, and he says, go Auggies. He's rooting for the Auggies tonight and is enjoying this very competitive game. Thank you, sir, for writing in. Orth with the left hand got fouled and scored. Big bucket for the freshman Orth. She now has 11 points and goes to the free throw line with a chance to make it a 2-point game. And Jen Masello, number 11 in maroon, has had a big impact on this game off the bench for head coach Ted Reverso. Orth at the free throw line. Rattled it off of the side of the iron. Boy, the Wildcats have left a lot of points at the free throw line tonight. Jones to her left, hands off for dangerous scorer McLemore. Wubin got past Jenkins, got fouled, and 2 shots coming up for Wubin. Foul against Jenkins is her first. It's the first against St. Kate's in the fourth quarter, and it sends Wubin to the free throw line. Auggies as a team shoot 69% from the free throw line, and that matches Wubin's percentage on this season as well. She misses her first. Benjamin in for St. Kate's. Orth to the bench. Orth has been very good offensively tonight with her 11 points. Wildcats down by 3, and they've just, right now the difference is making free throws. And that three-pointer that Wilson made before the halftime buzzer. Wubin makes her second. She's got 7. 53-49, the new score from St. Paul, capital city, here in the land of 10,000 lakes. Benjamin. Clark now taking her time, guarded by Jones. Now will go to work, spin into a double team. Tried to wiggle through it and got tied up by Jones. It's a jump ball. Wildcats have the arrow, so it'll stay on this end with St. Kate's. If you're just joining us, Wildcats wearing the home whites. Augie the road maroon jerseys. Augie ball with 8 seconds to work with on the shot clock. Cambrace to trigger this ball in. Benjamin drives, got bumped, shot no good. Got her own rebound and drew the foul. Gets a high five from Jenkins. Benjamin couldn't convert on her first, worked hard to get the ball back and then drew the foul. Now the Wildcats will see if they can get some points at the free throw line. It's the second foul against Cameron Speece. And it puts Benjamin on the line. 4.5 points per game for Benjamin. And she misses her first. It has been a tough night from the free throw line for St. Kate's. Clark and Radford to the bench. Second shot for Benjamin. That's no good. So 3 straight misses from Orth and now 2 from Benjamin. 1 from Orth and 2 from Benjamin. 3 straight misses for the Wildcats. I know Radford has missed 4. Cambryce has missed a couple. 53-49, the score remains. 3, McLemore off. Rebound, Wubin puts it back up and in as Wubin was able to muscle Venegas out of her way. Put it back up and in. Now 9 points for Wubin. Kerchek into the front court. She'll give it a heave towards the basket. That shot's no good. Rebound, Kerchek, and a foul is going to be called against Benjamin as she was battling for that loose ball. First foul, check that second foul against Benjamin. Second team foul against St. Kate. 7:53 left in the fourth quarter. Officials have tightened it down a bit now in this fourth quarter. Just 6 points separate these two teams. This is where the three-point shooting of Augsburg becomes that real weapon. Spiess, no good. Rebound, Cambryce. You can put a team away when you can shoot the three-point shot. As Kerchek's going to be fouled. Wubin came in there to try to steal it away from the freshman Kerchek, but in the process committed her third foul. Auggies now have 4. Their next one will put the Wildcats into the bonus. Not that they've shot well from the free throw line this evening. And you know that factors into the way that the Auggies will defend them the rest of the way. Venegas and Kerchek to the bench. Radford will inbound it with a fresh shot clock for St. Kate's. Hey, if you're playing somebody and they're struggling from the free throw line, you can go ahead and get tough defensively, knowing that if you do get called for the foul, so far it hasn't hurt you. Cambryce knocked it down. Boy, she spun. Shot a low lining shot. And now Cambryce has 21 points to lead all scorers. 4-point game, 6:59 to go. Jones around a screen from Solseth. Backs up. Thought about 3. Now it's McLemore. Jones guarded by Clark. 10 seconds left for the Auggies to work with here. Picked up on a switch by Cambryce. McLemore lost Benjamin. 3 on the way. Knocked it down. Big shot for Tamira McLemore with a dozen points tonight. 58-51, 6:30 to go. Nice bit of offensive basketball by McLemore. The pump fake took Benjamin right out of the equation, and then the very good three-point shooter was able to knock it down. McLemore, remember, on the season shoots 40% on the long ball. Clark down low. Benjamin with strength to the basket, scores. Benjamin was well defended by Solseth, but just muscled up and scored. Ted Reverso wants an Augsburg timeout. He'll get it. Let's break with the players. 6:04 to go. Augsburg 58, St. Kate's 53.
Wildcat Athletics is proudly supported by the Ryan Company, the Hickey family, U.S. Bank, the Loeffler Companies, Cone U.S., and the Opus Group. Wildcat supporters this season also include Shapco Printing, Sodexo, Terra General Contractors, the O'Neill Group, ProTech Designs, and Floors by Becker. Other Wildcat sponsors include McGough Construction, the DLR Group, Push Pedal and Pull, the Newman Family, Sava Tree, Jimmy John's, and Munchie's Frozen Yogurt.
Welcome back to the Butler Center. Matt Nelson with you alongside of engineer Glenn Thompson. Auggies with the ball, leading by 5 with 5:52 to go in the game. Cambryce defending Jones. Takes a good stiff screen from Spiess. Pump fake Wubin. Drives. Kicks. McLemore is open for 3, and she'll knock it down every time. You give number 3 a little bit of space. She's got 15 points. And she can bury you with the way she shoots the three-point shot. 61-53, the new score. The three-point shooting of McLemore has given the Auggies a little bit of breathing room. St. Kate's thought about it with Clark. She'll instead find Johnson, who will swing it around. Three-pointer on the way, knocked down. Big shot by Sam Orth. That'll keep the Wildcats in the conversation. Cuts the lead to 5 with 5 minutes to go. Boy, did the Wildcats need a three-pointer. Wildcats don't have a lot of three-point shooting on the roster, just 25% in the season, as Clark got wiped out under the basket, and Johnson looked like she paid back the favor to Spieth. Spieth as she clobbered her under the basket and got called for her first foul. It'll send Spieth to the free throw line for 2 shots. The third foul against the Wildcats in the fourth quarter. And the shot is good for Spieth. She's got 5 points. Spieth, the junior, just under 9 a game. Go along with 4.5 rebounds in that front court. And she shoots 63% on the season from the free throw line. Second on the way. Rattled in and out. Rebound Orth. 62-56 the score. As Spieth goes 1 of 2. 5 points now in the night for Spieth. Cam Bryce tried to get it to Clark and had it picked off. Wubin comes up with it into the front court. McLemore, be a good time to foul, and that's exactly what Johnson does. McLemore, a good free throw shooter, but that's a no-brainer to foul her in that situation. Fourth foul against the Wildcats in the fourth quarter. And McLemore to the free throw line. If you're the Wildcats right now, you're just trying to extend this game and hang around as long as you can. McLemore knocks out her first. McLemore with 16. Solseth in for the Auggies. Kerchak in for the Wildcats. Johnson to the bench. And McLemore goes 2 of 2 from the free throw line. She's got 17 points. And it's an 8-point lead for Augsburg. 4:30 to go. Again, this is a team at 9-1 that has showed the capability of closing out close conference games. Cam Bryce found Kerchak, lost it momentarily, tried to get it to Orth, and it's turned over. McLemore ahead for Wubin. Heck of an outlet pass. She had her shot blocked by Clark. Great defense by Audra Clark, who has done everything and more for the Wildcats tonight. Facilitating offense, scoring the basketball, playing defense. She has been so good. We mentioned it in the pregame show. You can really set your watch to what Clark can give you on the court. But Don Mulhern talked about what she's been able to do off of the court as well. Here she bumped with Orth, and they're going to call an offensive foul against the Auggies. It was a push. Jasmine Solseth got called for the foul. Her second, the 5th foul against the Auggies. Deborah Verso not a big fan of the call. Neither coach, I don't think, has been overly pleased with the officiating tonight. You can hear Ted Reverso. Meanwhile, Don Mulhern's giving the official a conversation as well. 4:05 left in the game, and Cam Bryce had it poked away by Solseth. She'll dive towards the bleachers. Couldn't keep it alive for the Auggies. So it'll be Wildcat ball, and Don Mulhern will take a timeout. Let's break with the players. We've got 4 minutes to go. It's 64-56, the Auggies leading.
As a family-owned and operated business since 1971, Goodmanson Construction continues to develop concrete relationships with their commercial and residential customers throughout the upper Midwest. Questions or concerns about concrete, asphalt, and the company's installation process, check out their website at goodmansonconstruction.com. Thank you, Goodmanson Construction. A proud sponsor of Wildcat Athletics since all the way back in 1971, the Universal Athletic Team has been passionate about fueling the dreams of athletes, and they put all their know-how into doing just that. By servicing and selling athletic gear to local athletes, high schools, and colleges, Universal Athletic has dedicated its heart and soul to the support of sports, fitness, and health programs in schools and communities.
Nice mild day in St. Paul. Sounds like it's going to be pretty cold next week. Something like, what did you say, 10, 15 below when we're here on next Wednesday night? Ay, ay, ay. 4 minutes left as we welcome you back in. And Nelson alongside of engineer Glenn Thompson. 64-56 the score. Wildcats with the ball. Got to get some offense. Got to get some stops if they're going to get back in this one. These two teams played to overtime in December. Wildcats have 4 of their starters out there along with Mackenzie Kurchek. Orth hands it off for Clark. 3 seconds left. Clark's going to let it go. Oh, rattled around, but shot's no good, but booted out of bounds by the Auggies. Wubin couldn't come up with it. There were actually 3 Auggies there, Solseth, Wubin, and Masello, and all 3 of them came up empty-handed, almost like they were fighting each other for the ball. 3:36 left. Wildcats right now not only playing against the Auggies, but the clock. Orth to the rack. No good. Got her own rebound. Wildcats shooting struggles continuing around the basket. Clark drives, puts on the brakes, turns, fires for Kurchek. Back for Clark. 3 wouldn't be a bad idea, but the Wildcats don't have a lot of time to toy with right now. Orth, good stiff pass for Radford, who lost it. Loose ball. Clark's got it now. She lost it. Jones had it. Rolls it over to Radford. Off of the window, no good. Cambrace the rebound. Drew contact, went through it and scored. So after all of that, it's Cambrace scoring. She's got 23 points. And this is a big defensive possession for the Wildcats. They nearly forced a turnover. Cambrace pulled it away from McLemore. It actually hit off of that official on the far side of the court on the sideline. Would have been out of bounds, would have been Augsburg ball either way. It didn't interfere with Cambrace. 2:50 left. Auggies have it. McLemore for Solseth. Boy, neither team having a great time handling the basketball right now. Jones picked up by Cambrace. 3 seconds left. McLemore bumped by Radford. Gives it a heave to the iron. It's a shot clock violation. So the Auggies salt 30 seconds off of the game clock, but the Wildcats don't let them get a shot off. And it's a turnover for Augsburg. 64-58 the score. Wildcats could sure use one here. 2:30 to go. Cambrace lost Wubin, goes to work, pulls up, knocks it down. Cambrace has 25. That leads all scorers. It's a 4-point game, a 4-0 run by Donica Cambrace. Auggies again, not in any great hurry, leading by 4. Such a dangerous 3-point shooting team. The Wildcats are out there to defend it. Long 3-pointer on the way from McLemore. It's short. Cambrace tips the rebound right to Audra Clark, who puts her head down and puts tried to get it into the front court and had it tipped away. Good defense by the Auggies. Wubin layup is off. Cambrace the rebound, and she was fouled by Spiess. Cambrace came down with the rebound, had Spiess, Wubin, and Jones waiting for her, and it's Jones called for the foul, her second. And with the Wildcats in the bonus, it means 2 free throws for Donica Cambrace. If the Wildcats had had more success from the free throw line earlier in this game, they might have a lead or be tied, but these are the ones that matter. Big ones coming up for Cambrace, who shoots 73% from the line on the season. Knocked down the first one. Looked very good right out of the hand. 26 points now for Cambrace. Minute 47 to go. And now just a 1-bucket game. And it's a 5-0 run for Cambrace, who goes 1 of 2 at the free throw line. So the Wildcats get 1. 1:40 left. Wildcats need more defense. Wubin around a screen from Spiess. Picked up on a switch by Radford. Solseth down low for Spiess. Picked up on a double team, and she draws the foul. 2 free throws coming up for Spiess. The foul is going to go against Kurchek. I got it as her third. And it is her second. But the 5th foul against St. Kate's means both teams now in the bonus. And 2 free throws coming up for Spiess. And these are big ones. First one is short. Fosness in for offense. Kurchek out. That's a classic offense-defense substitution by the Wildcats. Second free throw for Spiess. Gives it a spin, lets it go, and knocks it down. So the Wildcats get one at the free throw line. The Auggies get one at the free throw line. We got a timeout on the floor. Right now it's the Auggies clear the Wildcats by 4. 65-61 the score with 1:28 to go from St. Paul.
Transporting Wildcat athletes is in the capable hands of Northfield Lines Incorporated, dedicated to ensuring that your travel experience is a positive one. Call to request a quote or to make a reservation at 888-670-8068 or visit their website at northfieldlines.com. Twin Cities Orthopedics offers a full spectrum of orthopedic care to individuals suffering sports-related problems and injuries. Their doctors are team physicians for St. Catherine's University as well as Augsburg University, Hamlin University, and others around the state of Minnesota. Visit tcomn.com and thank you to Twin Cities Orthopedics.
It's crunch time in St. Paul. Cambryce gives the basketball a slap, and we're back at it. $1:25 to go with the Wildcats down by 4. Clark has it, goes to her right, runs into a triple team, hands it off for Johnson, now back for Clark. Wildcats got to get points on this possession. Where are they going to come from? Clark staring down Cambryce, gets it to her. Cambryce goes to her right. Now it's Johnson with it. Long cross-court pass. Radford three-pointer on the way. In and out. Oh, good shot by Jackie, but it just went in and out. Auggies come up with the rebound. Inside a minute to go, and the Wildcats probably got to start thinking about fouling. I'd say Spiess would be a good one to foul. They don't do it, though. Instead, it's Wubin, and the Wildcats look like they're content with 13 seconds left on the shot clock just to play defense. McLemore, Jones, guarded by Orth. Now McLemore, down low, Spiess, guarded by Johnson. Double team, Radford off of the window, no good. Clark rebound, 29 seconds to go. Into the front court it goes. Orth is there, layup off of the window is good. Wildcats trail just by 2, 24 seconds to go. And Don Mulhern will take a timeout. 16 points from Orth. We'll keep it right here in St. Paul. It's a 2-point game. Great pass by Johnson to find Orth. There wasn't a lot of room to work with. She found her, and Orth finished it off nicely. So now these two teams having very different conversations. Ted Reverso and his team talking about taking care of the ball and getting it into the right free throw shooting hands. Wildcats talking about a steal or free throws. Who do we want to foul? They probably have time, down by 2 with 24 seconds to go. The shot clock will be down for the rest of regulation. Wildcats have time enough to go for the steal, but can't spend too much time trying to steal that basketball away. Once you run past about 5, 6, 7 seconds, you probably got to go ahead and start playing the foul game. Big bucket, though, here down the stretch by Sam Orth. And again, Wildcats have been able to do that on a few teams where they just get the ball on into the front court, let their most athletic players chase it down and do the damage from there. Wildcats will defend with Fosness, Orth, Cambryce, Clark, and Radford. The Auggies will send out Spiess, Jones, Wubin, and McLemore and Solseth, and now they'll call him back. So the Wildcats take a timeout. The Auggies do the same. We'll just keep it right here. Gives us a chance to check the out-of-town scoreboard, see if we got any finals in from the out-of-towners. Let's see. In women's basketball tonight, we do have a final in. The Tommies remain undefeated. They defeated Concordia in St. Paul. They improved to 12-0 in the MIAC, 80-41. The final score in that one, not a close game. A halftime score with the Pipers at home against McAllister. McAllister 25, Hamlin 24. Bethel's hosting Carleton. No scoring yet from that one. Another final for you. St. Mary's improves to 7-4 in MIAC play as they defeat St. Ben's in Winona. 66-60 the final score there. And the last game rounding out the MIAC Wednesday, St. Olaf was at home against Gustavus. No score in from Northfield on that one. Now both teams have taken timeouts. Both teams are in the bonus. And you couldn't ask for a much better game. Worth noting again, the Auggies have not trailed in this game. They still hold on to a 2-point lead. They're trying to take this thing wire to wire. And the Wildcats trying to really steal one on their home court. They've trailed for 39 minutes and 36 seconds. Into the front court it goes. Lubin will inbound to Jones. Orth pressure. Now Radford comes out to bump Jones and send the Augie point guard to the free throw line, where she shoots 71% on the season. Foul against Radford is their second. So big free throws upcoming for Jones. With this just a 2-point game, but the right person at the line for the Auggies in Jones. Makes her first. Jones now with 10 points. She goes into double digits scoring. This next one is the biggie, though, with 22 seconds to go. Right now still a 1-bucket game. The next one can make it a 2-possession game. Jones gives it a spin, lets it go, and knocks it down. Pretty good trip to the free throw line for Jones. Didn't look nervous at all. So the Wildcats down by 4, 20 seconds to go. Still not out of it. Clark into the front court. Wildcats got to have a bucket and got to get it soon. Clark thinks about it, goes around the screen from Radford, crosses over, guarded by Wubin, tightly, drives, kicks. Johnson open three, in and out, rebound. Spiess has it, and Cambridge fouls her. But for St. Kate's, it looks like they're going to run out of time. They were playing the Auggies and the clock these last 2 minutes. Jones had the great trip to the free throw line. Johnson had an open look at a three. It rattled in and out. Actually, the Wildcats have had 2 3-pointers go in and out in the later stages of this fourth quarter. Radford had one, Johnson had another, and now Spiess to the free throw line with a chance to put this on ice with 4 seconds to go. First shot good. 7 points for Spiess. And again, with this being a 2-bucket game and 4 seconds to go. Spiess knocks it down, makes for pretty tough to envision a path to victory now for St. Kate's. Clark will let loose on one last 3-pointer. It's high off of the window, no good, and that's going to be your final score. These two teams went to overtime earlier this season. They played another exciting one here tonight. 69-63 is your final score as the Auggies improved their record this season to 15-3 overall. They're now 10-1 in the MIAC, looking up at the lone undefeated. That is St. Thomas. For St. Kate's, they fall to 7-11. They've now lost 5 out of their last 6 games and 4-7 in MIAC play. For the Wildcats, their next time out will be at St. Olaf on Saturday, a 1 o'clock tip-off. Ollie's and the Wildcats, those two teams played earlier this season. The Wildcats won that game by 7 points. So a rematch, Ollie's and Wildcats, Saturday 1 o'clock tip-off before they come home on Wednesday night to host Concordia and the Cobbers. We'll have that one for you here on TJSportsOnline.net's coverage of MIAC women's basketball, and we look forward to it. Thanks for spending a part of your week with us from the Butler Center in St. Paul. For our engineer, Glenn Thompson, for Lindsay and Athletic Communications, for Athletics Director Eric Stacy, I'm Matt Nelson signing off as the Auggies come up with a win 69-63. They go wire to wire on a Wednesday night to improve to 10-1 in MIAC play. Wildcats will look to bounce back on Saturday against St. Olaf. Until we talk again next week, go Cats!